Know what time it is? It is your boy Genesis. Yes, it is currently 6:53 p.m. and today's date is the 18th of January 2025. 2 days to glory, 2 days to the inauguration. Of course, everybody knows that. And of course, 2 days to MLK's Day, which happens to be the inauguration day as well. How are you doing today? All right. Happy weekend. Okay. Are you having a wonderful weekend? It is Saturday, and Saturday evening in the South here. Would you say the Southeast Georgia? How are we doing? All right. Of course, now that the legendary, the OG, the 45th, now the 47th president of the United States is about to be sworn in as the official president, protest everywhere in DC is erupting, and it's like, okay, if this was happening to a Democrat candidate or a Democrat duly elected president, it's like, oh well, this is not peaceful transfer of power, but this is what is going on right now. Okay, this is just wild. I don't see a reason why there should be protest when you know this person won the election fair and square. He won the popular vote. He won the electoral college. He won all swing states. So I don't get it why people are just like this. You're protesting what? What are you protesting exactly? Okay. A lot of feminists are out there in DC protesting. And this is why it's like you can't even take your kid to this inauguration because there's thousands of people protesting. Why? Why? What are you protesting for? Kamala already lost. Relax. All right, straight to the show. Enjoy the show. It is what it is. All right, of course, CNN has something to say. They're talking about Trump's oligarchy of tech billionaires to attend the inauguration. Of course, who doesn't want to be a part of greatness?
48 hours from now, Donald Trump is going to become president yet again, and he'll do so in his indoor voice. Frigid temperatures are forcing the inauguration inside the Capitol. That's where Ronald Reagan did it back in 1985. He's also going to take the oath before a row of billionaires cheering him on. All of the tech titans, including the new Trump whisperer, Elon Musk, they're all getting plum spots in the inauguration. And they should, since they are literally paying millions for it. For the last couple of months since Trump's inauguration, they've been hitting up Mar-a-Lago, bending the knee, kissing the ring, doing all the things. And they've done everything from pitching a Doge department to cut spending to cutting fact-checking at their news sites. So what is the reason for all of this? Is it all for influence? Is it for their bottom lines? Is it all for self-preservation? After all, Trump once suggested that Mark Zuckerberg head straight to jail because of Facebook's actions during the campaigns. The sitting president thinks that he knows, and he's sounding the alarm before his exit.
Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy.
I don't want to be naive about this. Look, we've had rich people with a lot of influence for a long time in this country. However, clearly they think something has changed because they didn't do this in 2020. They didn't even do this in 2016. They are now saying it's a race. We've got to all throw the money at Trump because it does matter whether he likes you. It does matter whether you give him money. That will influence the policy. And I think to me, Essie, that is the difference between now and all the other eras in American history, perhaps, that we've seen.
Yeah, there's a really symbiotic relationship now between politics and tech. And I think over time, you know, the tech industry has realized the benefits of being close to political power. There was a resistance at first. I remember I was brought in to Facebook with a bunch of conservatives to try and talk to Mark Zuckerberg and Peter Thiel about how to be more inclusive to conservatives, what, a change a couple of years makes. But that resistance is clearly over now, and they see a real clear benefit in being close to Trump and close to political power.
I mean, they used to like avoid Washington like
Yes.
a plague.
Trump got this 4-year break, right? So he was the president, and then he's been off for 4 years. And in those 4 years, he developed strong relationships. I think, and don't forget, he seemed to be the front runner for quite some time when Joe Biden was going to be running. So these guys, yeah, it does. Of course, what you're saying is true, right? The president of the United States has an enormous power. These guys need his help. So they're drawn towards him. And he wasn't the president at the time. He wasn't back to back. So he was able to be a citizen and pal around with them. And he's comfortable in that environment. He's comfortable with billionaires because he is a billionaire. But look, if you really follow the money, I believe more billionaires and millionaires gave Biden money and Harris money for their campaigns than gave Trump money. It's just that we know where Beyonce's money comes from. We know where Taylor Swift's money comes from. They're brilliant entertainers. Elon Musk, he's losing money on Twitter. Bezos, okay, we know where his money comes from. It's just a different element, and we feel more comfortable with Taylor Swift than we do with Elon Musk.
I think that the difference isn't actually so much.
Oh my goodness. Did this guy just say he feels more comfortable about Taylor Swift than Elon Musk? So a man building cars to save the environment with Tesla, okay? Saving the environment. He's not comfortable with a man like that. A man sending a rocket to space to save the astronauts from NASA. He's not doing good enough. Okay. You're not comfortable with a man like that, but you're comfortable with an entertainer like Taylor Swift. This look, softies. This ain't Swifties. These are softies.
Who gives campaign contributions. I think the difference is Trump himself.
That's it.
He's the guy who, he'll just decide on a whim, hey, I want to, TikTok to survive, just because he likes it.
Yeah.
And that's just
Pay to
not
play.
Yeah,
we're
well,
just
and
not
he's
used to the government working that way.
It's just, and he's very mercurial. And the thing is that there was a time, and you can tell me how long ago this was. Remember when he was banned from Twitter? What was their Twitter?
And Facebook.
And Facebook. And then all of a sudden now he's their best friend. But he also sees the benefit of making money and being friends with this guy, because this, at the end of the day, is about everybody making money. And I know that we want to say it's the political process, but they all are going to get paid. Even though Elon lost all this money, there were reports that he immediately, once Trump became president, made somewhere upwards of, it's just insane.
I mean, it was the best bet ever, literally.
And they want to take over the social media site. Like, that's where the power is. Social media can, he's influencing people, and he's smart. So we've got Mark, we've got Elon, we have all the other sites that are working in our interest, and so we're going to control the narrative. And no one in this day and age is really paying attention but to headlines and alternative facts.
And I just got to say, Coca-Cola is getting in on the game. They have this commemorative Diet Coke bottle.
Of course.
That they,
Like, really?
I know the way to his heart.
Yeah.
It's actually not the bottle. The bottle is not the thing, because they've given the bottles before, but it's the going down to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, and doing all the things.
doing
Yeah,
the-
I heard they were creating a McTrump meal at McDonald's. I don't know how true that is, but why not?
And it would do numbers. It would do numbers. I just don't.
The truth is this guy controls a lot of attention, okay? He commands attention. A lot of people want to be around Trump. He is a likable person, even though a lot of people hate him, okay? This is like millions of people don't like Trump. It is what it is. However, the people that actually like him, they love him. Like, they would do anything for him. And he's been proven to be a very influential figure, as well as a very thorough business person. He's been doing this for years, for 40, 50 years. He's been successful for decades, okay? He's been successful for decades. So, I mean, this guy started building Trump Tower in when he was 32, 33, 34, in his early 30s. So this guy is like, now he's 78 years old. So what do you expect? He's been around billionaires all his life. All right. So they know who he is. They know what his brand stands for. He is a successful person. He's been successful. He relates with successful people as well. So And he's been the president before. Okay, he's been the 45th president. Everybody saw what the economy like. The economy was like. You saw the gas prices. You saw your foreign policy. You saw the border. And compare it to now, you saw the interest rates, you saw the mortgage rates. Now compare it to now. So everybody is realizing that maybe this guy isn't as bad. Maybe this guy is not as bad as we thought he was. This is just the deal. This is what it is. Everybody's wide awake and realizing that, okay, we need to go kiss the ring in Mar-a-Lago. It is what it is, okay? When you make a mistake, you rewrite your wrongs and you do what you're supposed to do. That's what is going on right now. Everybody's realizing, even the voters, okay? It's not just the billionaires. The voters are realizing that maybe we made a mistake. Maybe we were wrong about Trump. That's what it is, okay? Worldwide, he is more popular than he has ever been, ever, right now, as of today. Trump has never been this popular in his entire existence. Okay, today, right now, he is the most popular human being alive right now. And on the 20th, when he becomes the president on inauguration day, it is even going to go wider. Okay, his name would be bigger than it is as of today. So he's only getting popular, getting bigger, getting richer, getting more influential, getting more powerful. The more they talk about him, the bad things they say about him, the good things they say about him, none of this counts. He is a legend. He's always been a legend. He will forever be a legend. It is just what it is. You can't do anything about it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Scenarios that I think we assume that Trump will always have a little bit more of a power dynamic over these billionaires, and I don't think that will always be the case.
Nope.
Elon Musk is in charge of the company that will essentially replace whatever NASA is doing in the current construct. Mark Zuckerberg lost weight and learned martial arts to get that's
correct.
Is that manipulative? And it's like, how genuine are their intentions in the long run? Because right now it's, we're here to help you make policy versus them turning Trump into the puppet in their do voice.
I think that's normal. Like in my world, right, as a lawyer, in the courthouse, when the chief administrative judge changes from one administrative judge to the other, you try to curry some favor. You want to get to them. When Roger Ailes left Fox News and Susan came in and take over, like they just left to have MSNBC just left. You're going to go in and try to schmooze with the new person because it's Mother Nature.
There's a huge difference, and there's a big difference between Taylor Swift giving money and people with real conflicts of interest. SpaceX is subsidized to the tune of $20 billion. My money, your money. Your money.
But they're getting it done.
That conflict, and they're all conflicted, right? The Bezoses, the Zuckerbergs, they're all conflicted.
Explain the conflict.
And Taylor Swift, I don't think, was giving money, or Beyonce giving money to the Harris campaign with an expectation
that her records would sell
even
more.
If you don't think Taylor Swift is an enormous business person, you know that's not true.
What do you know that's not?
She's not making billions
of
dollars just on...
What did she think Harris was going to do for her music business?
Harris wasn't going to green light
when you get seen...
No, this is a stretch.
Like we were talking about him performing for the inauguration. You get seen as the president of the United States, her or him, put your arm around you. Me being on CNN takes me to another level.
I
don't know what you're talking about.
This is a good segue.
The same things.
This is a good segue. I mean, Roy, just to be clear, because I think people might be confused, Roy is not performing.
I thought you were headlining.
You're not headlining?
Wait, time out.
You're going to get me disowned by my family.
Why? Snoop Dogg's
How
going to be
much money would it take?
How much money would it take for me to go down to the inauguration?
And perform?
It would depend. How much money? Because I'm looking at a 10-year ice out on the Black American side of it.
You're going to do it for free. Man, please. This guy will do it for free. Everybody talks like they're not going to work with Trump until it's time. And then you see them kissing the ring. These same people, if they have the opportunity to go work with Trump, they'll be the first person to be on the line. They would be on the line lobbying to get a job. They're just here laughing and giggling. Everybody knows the facts, okay? Everybody loves to work with someone who is winning. And Trump has been known to be a winner for many, many years.
I would do a 10-year salary aggregate of whatever
Boy,
that number is. Just perform, disappear for 10 years, come back, learn karate like Zuckerberg, and be like, hey, look, I'm wrong.
different.
What do you think is going on with Snoop is performing,
Of course, he's
Nelly is
performing.
performing.
Carrie Underwood.
Carrie Underwood, but I mean, let's just
Carrie
take-
Underwood you get.
Carrie Underwood, it makes sense. But just because Roy pointed this out, he made the point that there's backlash, right? When it comes to Black Americans, for those guys, they're calculating it's not a big enough backlash.
They're a little bit backlash proof, though. Snoop is a tried and true brand, and when you look at the things that Snoop Dogg has done on the philanthropic side of the game in the Black community, you can't say he don't care about us, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Nelly, it's Nelly. You love his music, and you're not really listening to Nelly for his political views anyway.
It's getting hot in here is what
He has
you
a
want.
new baby, so
Yeah, but he has to pay some bills.
Second baby.
Yeah, but you know what though? There's a precedent for rappers doing this. They're not the first rappers to do it, and they're
50
also
Cent.
men. And so the point being is that they know that if I look down at his
I mean, with Nelly, obviously, his girlfriend or his fiance or his baby mama or whatever she is, Ashanti, or his wife, I guess. They're having a baby or they already have a baby. So, of course, he could do whatever he wants to do. What is his name? Snoop Dogg. Nobody really, look, Snoop Dogg is like that brand that nobody cares, okay? Whatever Snoop Dogg does, he's been tested and tried. He's already outlasted everybody that came out with him. He already stood the test of time. So no matter what happens, he's like an OG. Snoop Dogg is an OG, regardless. Everybody knows Snoop Doggy Dogg. Okay, it is just what it is. Okay, with that being said, the person I was expecting to perform would have been 50 Cent. Like, imagine if 50 Cent performed Many Men. Oh, God. Many Man. Oh, it would have been like just imagine Trump coming out to Many Men. Oh man. Oh, that would have been the hardest entrance ever for a political figure or a president elect or a president, like, ever. Man, they better make it happen, because if it does happen, oh man.
history of people who did it and in their career survived, there's not going to be an issue.
Trump has also
He thrived.
always wanted Hollywood, the music industry, to be on his side. He just
Yes.
this week surprised some of these folks by naming them as ambassadors to Hollywood. He said they'll serve John Voight, Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone. They'll serve as special envoys to me for the purpose of bringing Hollywood, which has lost much business over the last 4 years to foreign countries, back bigger, better, and stronger than before.
To which
Now, these guys right here, like, what's their name? These are legends, okay? So for Mel, this guy in the middle, I forget his name, to Sly, Sylvester Stallone. Of course, these guys are legends. And these guys are men that you could tell they have good ethics and they've lasted for a long time, decades, okay? What's this guy's name? Mel Gibson did Braveheart in 1995. I was born in 1995. Golly. And I still watch Braveheart. So that's what, 30 years ago? And these guys are still here creating, Mel Gibson was part of the people that, first of all, the movie Passion of the Christ, that was, in my opinion, one of the greatest movie to ever be made in Hollywood or come out of Hollywood. Of course, the Rocky franchise for Sylvester Stallone, legendary, like one of the most inspirational, franchise ever, most inspirational movies of all time. It's definitely on top 10 for sure. Rocky, and Mel Gibson is also one of the people that he is an advocate for, or he's against human traffickers. Okay, so he talks about it. He talks how big that market is in Hollywood, and he's just a overall good person if you listen to what he says. So you just might never know, but outwardly what they've said and what they've done, it's really proven to be good. So I could say these guys are good guys. And Trump naming these three guys, these three OGs, I would say, to be the ambassador for Hollywood, That is absolutely amazing.
Bigger, better, and stronger than before.
To which Mel Gibson said he found out on Twitter like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Didn't even call him first.
Yeah,
Let me just to your point. One of my clients' friends is a kid named Chef G. He's a black kid from the Bronx. He headlined Trump's rally in the Bronx. Since he headlined the Bronx in there, his sales or his hits or whatever you get on the phone have gone through the roof. Through Lawrence Taylor, the great New York Giant, he stood up, he headlined a rally for Trump. He didn't get any pushback at all, just the opposite. There is a piece of our country that looks at Trump and says, he's a different guy, and let's give him a shot.
There's a piece of the country that understands that, but when you talk about a Chef G or a Lawrence Taylor, there are people that the culture believes belongs to them. Chef G, not one. Lawrence Taylor, we can debate that at any time of day, but there are people that have done things, foundational things for the culture, that stand for the culture, and it's hard for us to accept this. And I'm not speaking for the culture as a whole, because it's not a monolith, but they'll say, wait, but I thought. To his point, Trump is a little bulletproof. I think that when you're hanging out with Martha Stewart, you could do just about anything.
That's the thing with Snoop.
Snoop.
Yeah.
I see the play with Snoop. Snoop sells sketches. That's the sketcher crowd. You got to go for the people that.
Man, look, these folks are just gonna say what they want to say, but life goes on, y'all. Yeah, John Voight is that his name? Yeah, Angelina Jolie's father. Yep. What do you guys think about TikTok being banned tomorrow?
The question
Actually,
is, what will comedy look like in a second Trump term? The president-elect is notoriously thin-skinned. In fact, just this week, he went off on NBC's Seth Meyers, calling him out and saying that he's a marble mouth. He's a time slot filler. He threatened Comcast with a big price to pay. HBO's Bill Maher sees his role in this era a little differently than his peers in a world now that is basically run by MAGA.
He's a kooky guy who says a lot of kooky things, and I'm just not going to pre-hate anything. I'm just going to hope for the best, and then when something serious happens, I'll comment on that. I'm not going to chase every rabbit down the hole like I did the first term.
Roy, I mean, maybe he's right. Like, I don't know, perpetual outrage is both exhausting and also not funny.
I agree with that. I mean, in my special, I don't talk about politics at all, considering my pedigree and hosting the show on this network
You're
and Daily
done
Show.
with it.
I just, for this special, I've talked about what's going on in the world. I want to talk about how it's affected us. And so that was more interesting to me. I just think that you cannot use outrage as a punchline replacer. And that's what has happened in the last 8 years.
The phone thing that you had there was perfect.
Finish the sentence. What do you mean you can't use outrage?
I think that for the last 8 years, we have been in a place where if you say the right thing as a performer, it's seen and camouflaged, it creates the illusion of hilarious. And you're gonna have to actually say something now. And the idea that everybody is angry, everybody's tired, I don't know if we can still hit that nerve performatively and go, Trump, stupid. Can you believe Trump do stupid? Like, you're gonna have to figure out another way. And I think for me as a performer, I can't speak for what we're gonna do on CNN when we come back.
of course, because everybody has now seen the alternative. Like, who is your alternative? Joe Biden? Oh yeah, please. You saw what happened the last 4 years. You saw the Afghanistan withdrawal. You saw what the gas prices has been. You saw what the grocery prices has been. You saw the border. You saw Ukraine and Russia. You saw Israel and the Palestinian people and the Iranian people. So it's like, what do you expect? People are just tired of saying Trump is the bad guys, pointing your fingers to say Trump is the bad person when the person you have that is supposed to be the good guy has caused chaos, sending billions of munitions, billions to Ukraine, to other part of the world. And guess what? When Hurricane Helen happened in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, guess how much these people got? $750. Each family got $750 from FEMA. And then when you move to what is happening right now in California, the wildfires, these people are getting $770. $770, y'all. And then other countries are getting billions of dollars. So it's like everybody's just tired, okay, of not putting America first. And this is what people are saying. This is why people voted for Trump. Like, America first, y'all. We're tired of this BS. It is what it is. America first. And that's why you cannot play with Trump's name this next 4 years. Anybody who is not on line or one accord with America first or make America great again, because people say MAGA, 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 MAGA. But MAGA simply means make America great again, meaning make America first again. It's just what it is. Okay, you don't wanna have healthy food. And now Red 4, I don't know if you guys know, Red 4 has now been banned as an ingredient in food like cereal, medications, and stuff like that. Red 4 has been banned. Why do you think it got banned? Because they know RFK Jr. is here and he ain't playing around. So it's greatness for this next 4 years. I cannot wait for Tulsi Gabbard's confirmation hearing. It is going to be wild. We saw Pete Hegseth's confirmation hearing. It was dope. What's his name? What's her name? Pam Bundy. Pam Bundy's hearing too was absolutely amazing. So moving forward, this next 4 years, nobody wants to hear Cry Me a River. No, 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 no. Okay. If it's not greatness, if it's not America first, nobody's here for that.
February, but for me as a performer, it is more about the people now. Let's talk about people that are affected by the issues.
Sure,
Let's find
yeah.
jokes state and local, because it's going to be a lot of swindling happening at the state
But
and
I
local
like
level.
your comedy because you're not doing the politics. The thing you did about the phones is fantastic, and
I appreciate
it's
it.
so true.
No, but this is not true. Comedy has always been used to make light of what's going on in the world. Artists
but
have
that's the
always been
low-hanging-
used to bring light to attention and levity to hard stuff.
The comedy is the low-hanging fruit.
Yes, somebody corrected me in the comment section. It is red number 3, okay? Yep. It's a red dye number 3. It's been banned. It's being used in cereal and drinks and medications. So thank you to whoever corrected me in the comment. It is red dye number 3, and it's been banned by the FDA. So it is what it is.
Seth Meyers, if you ever watch his show, if Donald Trump did not get reelected, Seth Meyers has got to be off the air in 6 months. His whole show is beating up on Donald Trump. The whole thing. And if you notice, there's no laugh lines. He makes a remark and beats up on Trump, and all you hear is this. You don't hear people giggling.
Folks like Colbert
Steph,
are going to be,
they're going to be fine. You figure out ways to adjust to what people have a flavor for. And I think that Seth is funny. I've done the program a couple times. Same with Colbert. Like, they make great jokes, but the reservoir from which we pull the premise from. Mike Birbiglia says something I always love. He said, a joke only works if we all agree on the premise. And the way we have splintered the truth, and the way we can't even agree on how a wildfire started.
Facts
in this
don't
country.
matter.
So how do you write material based in that? And that's the difference between now and 2016, when we had the first rise of Trump. And so I just think that if you're living in a place where you're only going to insult the president, you're not going to get the same return on investment. But also, I don't think Trump can shut down Seth. I don't think he can use any type of policies, because you're biting off your own hand, because you're the free speech guy.
I
and
agree
all
with
of
you
the
100%.
Right-wing comedians get to say and do what they want.
Does anybody think that we will start to see what is happening in the business world and maybe in the entertainment world happening in the comedy world, where we start to see people trying to kind of just
Bill
shift a
Maher's
little bit
doing
to
it right
the
now.
center, shift a little bit
I
to the
liken
right?
comedy to journalism in that there is an independence, I would hope. And my role as a journalist, your role as a journalist, is to hold people in power accountable. I think the role of a comedian, or partly, is to make fun of people in power and not be afraid of doing that, not be afraid of making fun of the richest man in the world or the most powerful person in the world. And so I would hope that there is a wall that remains between comedy and the targets, whoever that is.
And to that point, here's the real variable in that, is that Trump can try and regulate and bully a network, but YouTube has more viewers than most streamers. Facebook just took the, as they say in NASCAR, took the governor off of decency. So people are going to be able to say what they want, and the virality can happen there. And now if you're Trump, you can't shut down those, because those are your boys. That's you and Karate Man and Space Man.
That's your tech homies.
I wonder if we do need to start seeing comedy doing what Essie is suggesting, which is actually taking the jokes to everybody. Because I think the complaint that conservatives have is that it actually doesn't happen that way. That they don't make jokes at the expense of Democrats.
No,
as
you're
much
right.
as
You're
they
right.
make
You're
it
right.
at
The
expense
media,
of
especially,
Republicans.
always much more leaning comfortably towards Democrats, but always making it seem as if. But now we're seeing this shift, but the shift is so extreme. My hope is that comedians, definitely like Roy, not necessarily stay attacking Trump, but hold people accountable in a way that's still light and you can see the joke in it. And you can see the joke because to me, that's where the story and the power lies, when you can laugh at your own and think this is.
I want to defer to you, okay? Who was the king of late night comedy? Was Johnny Carson, right? He had the longest run. He was the most successful, completely apolitical.
But
people laughed at him. They giggled at him.
People weren't having their lives threatened.
Different times.
Come on, he was on during the Vietnam War. He was on during
there
the
was not social media.
Watergate wasn't domestic. The president of the United States
It's not the same as the shadow of deportation. You cannot compare Watergate to deportation.
Listen, the president of the United States for the first time in history resigns from office. That's not political. That doesn't affect America. John Kennedy gets executed. That doesn't affect America.
John
That's
Kennedy
not political.
getting executed is not the same as people starving and waiting for aid.
Roy, let me ask you this, because I'm thinking about your special.
Too much coffee.
And the focus on like people and what's going on in their actual lives. Why is it that now what's happening in Washington is inseparable from what is going on in people's lives, or at least they think that it is?
Because it's Washington's fault that all of these things are happening.
No, 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 no. It is Trump, okay? He is so influential. Well, the last time this type of stuff happened was during Obama's time, because when you have someone who can command people's attention, who attracts attention, influential, okay? This is what you get. A lot of people want to be a part of politics now because of Trump, okay? Because Trump has made it cool to be, I guess, involved in politics, and people are now like selling gears of, Trump merch. It is what it is, because if you have a very influential person like Trump, and for Trump, what makes it different is he's not your typical politician. He was a business person before coming into DC, and now the difference is he has been a president before, and now he didn't win in 2020. Most people say he won in 2020. Most people call him 45th, 46th, 47th. But you can, argue about that. It is what it is. However, this man won in 2016, lost in 2020, right? And then he's coming back in 2025. It is like most people are saying this is the second coming of Trump. So it is. This hasn't happened ever in the history of the United States, and this may never happen again. This man has now been convicted. He is now a convicted felon. So nobody has ever been a convicted felon and then been sworn in on Monday as the president of the United States, the 47th president of the United States. Nobody has ever done it, and he's doing it. He's done it. And then this man obviously would secure the border, obviously would bring back the economy, obviously would, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. The wars are already ending. Israel and Hamas ceasefire deal is already going on. So it's like this man has proven to be, if not the greatest president the United States has ever had, maybe one of the greatest president the United States has ever had. I would say top 3. Most people will say top 5. I'll say top 3. Let me know in the chat. What do you think? Do you think he's in top 5 or top 10 or maybe top 3 or maybe the greatest?
People's lives.
That's right.
So now I feel completely detached. So yeah, I want to see some criticism on both sides. I think Jon Stewart did it best when he came back to the Daily Show first night. He called Joe Biden old. And then people got mad at him, and John did
Bill
not
Maher
back down.
does it too. Bill Maher's an equal opportunity offender. He's great at that.
And neither of them back down. They don't apologize. And I think that there's going to have to be a shift also from liberal audiences on how you laugh and what you see and what you think. You should not be coming to a comedy show to hear what you already agree with and want a warm hug from the
Wait, I want to go back to this Johnny Carson of it all quickly. The 2 different times. You can't compare then and now. And I know that you can make some comparisons. No, it's not the same.
It's supposed to make you laugh.
First of all, that was when only white men could be on television at night telling funny stories. You have to realize that things have changed.
There's still only white men on television. CBS, ABC.
But to his point, he has his own comedy show. He's had his own. He has his own show currently on this network.
Not talking about politics.
A little bit. He can do things that other comedians haven't done. And the reality is, you can't compare Johnny Carson and a privileged life that he had to what he's talking about in the messages.
It's whether they're funny. They're comedians. It doesn't matter if they started on third base. It's comedy. It's supposed to make people laugh. That's your job.
But that doesn't mean that the joke can't have a responsibility or a vitamin in it.
Okay, it can have a vitamin in it.
All right, guys.
My medicine.
What you said, though, about the liberal audiences having to shift their mindset, I think is going to be one of the hardest things about this next era.
Of course.
Snoop and Nelly are going to be at this thing. And I think it really does beg the question whether the culture is starting to thaw to Donald Trump. I mean, are they?
About time.
I don't think so. We definitely saw a lot of people, Sexy Red, others say, he sent me a check, so I'm good with him, the stimulus check. And I understand that there is that crew of people who are like, the stimmy check came, I like him now. Snoop and Nelly in particular are apolitical people and apolitical artists. Like you see Snoop with Martha Stewart, he's like, I fly over, I want everyone to like me. I think this is more about capitalism than politics. Somebody said, Snoop, it's the crypto ball. We got $250 for you or $150 for one night. Come do 10 songs, 6 songs, whatever. Yeah, I'm there, homie.
But
Nelly, the same thing.
There are a lot of rappers who have sided with Donald Trump. For all kinds of, he pardoned several of them.
He was giving away pardons.
Yeah, I mean,
he was giving away pardons to people, and that's why they were endorsing
But
him
I mean, what's going on there? What is it about these particular?
These are not the intellectuals of hip hop. These are not the except for Kanye. These.
Please just say these are not the intellectuals of hip hop. Now he wants to say except for Kanye. What about Lil Wayne? I don't know about. What about Snoop? Yeah, he's definitely an intellectual because he's been doing this for decades. If he's not an intellectual, he would be gone. Matter of fact, you could never really pop as a hip hop artist for at least 3, 4, 5 years and not be, smart. If you're not smart, you cannot really blow up in the Hollywood, caucus. You cannot. You have to be smart. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Typically not political people at all. Like I said, there's some in the hood. There's this notion of he's tough. He gave us money, right? They're not.
I was reminded also. I mean, back in the '80s, Donald Trump was, at the boxing matches. He was with Don King. I mean, he was in a different place in the culture. He went into the '90s as the subject of rap songs, and just, Gail, I know you're not a rap expert, but
I am definitely not
a rap expert, but something happened in this election maybe where because of his victory, all the business people were like, you know what? Trump is no longer politically toxic. And some of these folks are making the exact same calculation on the music side as well.
They are doing exactly that. And it is an honor. It's an honor to be able to sing at an inauguration. It's an honor to be able to sing at one of the balls. It's an honor. I have a daughter who's a singer, and she was on American Idol, one of the finalists.
Yes, that's right. I remember that.
And she was asked to sing at a convention. And she lost so many friends and so many fans because she agreed to sing.
Wow.
And I just think it's time for entertainers to get out of politics and entertain.
Well, they're getting into politics.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
I mean,
Shut up and dribble. Wow. I didn't think we were going to go there.
Well, Keith, I mean, what would you say? I mean, if Snoop were sitting right here at this table, what would you tell him?
Well, I had a disagreement with Snoop, I think, a year or two ago. Something he endorsed Rick Caruso.
Did you tell him?
He was supporting Rick Caruso, for mayor of Los Angeles, who I disagree with. And I stated that publicly as well. But I think that a lot of these rappers are not the intellectuals in the community, as Teray was pointing out, but it's also a dishonor to the black community.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Donald Trump, the man who would refuse to rent to black people in the 1970s, who tried to lead a lynch mob against 5 black and brown kids in the 1980s for the Central Park case, who refused to allow black casino workers to have a prominent place in his casinos in Atlantic City in the 1990s, who spent 5.5 years lying about Barack Obama's birth certificate in the 2000s, who came into office and then attacked black people like Colin Kaepernick, who attacked Ruby Freeman and her daughter Shay Moss for simply doing their jobs as Fulton County election workers. You dishonor those people when you go and perform for this man who has done nothing but dishonor black people. And even last year, he was calling Haitian immigrants, accusing them of eating cats and dogs. This is not somebody that black people should be associated with and pretending to normalize. We should be challenging him. And it dishonors the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose birthday we honor on Monday, to celebrate this man.
Oh my goodness. So celebrate MLK, but don't talk about Trump and the inauguration. This is the man that black people said they're eating the cats and the dogs. Actually, some may have been. You never know. I promise you that. You just never know. Anyway, with that being said, Trump is just getting more popular. But what is going on with TikTok, y'all?
Major breaking news. The Supreme Court just ruled that a controversial ban on TikTok may take effect on Sunday. The ruling putting the spotlight on President-elect Donald Trump. And I just spoke to him on the phone. It was a brief conversation. And this was his first reaction. I was actually telling him about how the Supreme Court ruled. And he told me, quote, in response, "It ultimately goes up to me, so you're going to see what I'm going to do. Congress has given me the decision, so I'll be making the decision." So we're going to talk to our panel about that, because it's not so simple, although, of course, he will have some options available to him. So before we get to that, I want to go straight to Paula to break down this ruling for us, Paula.
Yeah, easily the biggest decision out of the court so far this term. And here the justices allowing this ban on the popular app TikTok to go forward amid bipartisan concerns about the national security risk posed by this app. Now, specifically, the justices were looking at a law passed last April by Congress with broad bipartisan support that said the app would be banned unless it was sold from its parent company, ByteDance, because the concern is that ByteDance has obligations and allegiances to the Chinese government. And the specific national security concern is that this app is collecting enormous amounts of data on Americans, and that data could be used or manipulated in a crisis. Now, in its decision, the court said that even TikTok, quote, did not dispute that the government has an important and well-grounded interest in preventing China from collecting the personal data of tens of millions of U.S. TikTok users. Nor could they. The platform collects extensive personal information from and about its users. Now, Justice Gorsuch wrote, quote, "Speaking with and in favor of a foreign adversary is one thing. Allowing a foreign adversary to spy on Americans is another." Now, TikTok had argued that this ban is a violation of the First Amendment. As we know, nearly 200 million Americans use this app to express themselves, everything from the news to cat videos to the latest dance craze. But the justices appeared skeptical of that argument. And in their decision today, they said, look, this is very specific. We're talking about an app that collects an enormous amount of data for a foreign adversary. So they said that even though First Amendment protections are usually given enormous deference, here they're issuing this narrow ruling. So legally, what could happen next? Well, it kind of falls to President-elect Trump if he is able to show that there are serious good faith negotiations underway to sell TikTok. This ban could be paused, but the Supreme Court today also could have paused this and given him more time to engage in those negotiations, and the court chose not to do that. Pamela?
Yeah, that's certainly notable. I want to bring
I really think that, Trump should give them a 90 days extension, because if he doesn't give them a 90 days extension, this would be really bad for a lot of business owners, especially small business owners and small creators just making money on TikTok. And, a lot of consumers are on TikTok as well. So it is going to be bad for a lot of reasons. But when he is sworn in on Monday, he's most likely going to give them a 90 days extension. I mean, who knows? However, TikTok needs to figure out how to get owned by an American company. Kevin O'Leary said he wanted to buy TikTok, and currently there is no concrete deal being made as of now. But TikTok being banned on Sunday, oh my goodness, this will really impact a lot of businesses in the United States. Some people have, matter of fact, some people only operate on TikTok, like TikTok Shop. TikTok Shop for sure has a lot of businesses on it, and a lot of businesses in the United States maybe solely use TikTok Shop, which is not advisable for any business owner. If you're going to do business, you shouldn't just, stick to one platform. However, TikTok is just wide and very, very accepted by, Gen Zs, even baby boomers are on TikTok, So everybody's on TikTok. Okay, everybody's on TikTok. But being banned, this is bad for business. Now, Meta, Instagram, X, YouTube, these platforms would have a surge for sure. Even new platforms like the Little Red Book, owned by a Chinese company as well, Fanbase, so many small social media platforms are now blowing up just because TikTok is now said to be banned on Sunday. So this might be a new era for new social media to, come up just like the way TikTok came up. So this might be something good or bad. We cannot know for sure as of right now, but maybe soon we would.
Jonan, because it's interesting, Donald Trump was once spearheading the effort to ban TikTok, and then he's had this reversal. He wants to save it, right? The justices actually noted that he once tried to ban it.
They did, right at the top of the opinion. In a couple different instances, the justices referred to the fact that in August of 2020, Donald Trump had actually issued an executive order against TikTok. And it also noted that he had expressed concerns for the vast swaths of information that TikTok collects on American users. And that goes to the justices' grounds. Just to remind everyone what the federal government had argued here. Two grounds. They argued two grounds. One is all the data that's collected, the amassing of data from 170 million users. But then they also argued that TikTok not only had that data to use for blackmail or espionage, but also would be in a position to covertly manipulate messages, different kinds of propaganda. The justices actually set aside the second reasoning. They decided we're not going to look at that one because it was enough for them to find that the threat to national security was in the data collection. And we kind of saw this coming because during oral arguments, several of the justices talked about information that could be collected now on young people who down the road, 10, 15 years from now, come into more important positions and then could be vulnerable to what had been collected on them. And just the risk of not just today, that data collection, but down the road, what Beijing could potentially do to it. And that was the crux of their reasoning today, Pam.
And so now you have Donald Trump, who told me on the phone this morning that, look, the decision is ultimately up to me. Congress has given me the decision to do it. Now, we know the law allows this 90-day extension if there are actual, real, tangible negotiations happening. But ByteDance has said it doesn't want to sell TikTok. And so there's this looming question of what's going to happen Sunday when this ban takes place. And between that time and when Donald Trump takes office Monday officially, and what options are available to him?
Yeah, I'm curious what he's being advised as far as how much discretion he has. I don't think this law, as it was passed and as President Biden signed it, really gives the president-elect, future President Trump, a whole lot of flexibility in terms of being able to put the brakes on it once it goes into effect. There's a couple different options he has available. One, he could quickly see if he can put together a buy or group. And that is, again, if ByteDance and TikTok are willing to sell it, they have the option to just shut down their own service. They don't actually have to be bought, even if a buying group was put together. The other potential option that President-elect Trump might be thinking through with his team is whether or not he issues an executive order that directs the Attorney General not to enforce the law. In other words, not to conduct the investigations that the act calls for. But the law actually applies to the companies that provide access to the app. So it's the companies that provide the app stores that people download it from. And that puts those companies, if he were to say, look, this law is in place, but I'm just not going to enforce it, go ahead companies and still go ahead and provide access to it, that puts the companies in a really, really difficult place because they're in a position then of potentially not complying with the law and risking huge fines.
Especially for Sunday when he's not officially president.
Well,
right?
he can't do anything before
right.
Sunday. We only have one president at a time.
Exactly, and they've made clear, the Biden White House has made clear, look, it's the end of our term.
They're going to let it go. So the question would be, once President Trump steps into office, what does he do then? And it's not so simple. The law doesn't give him a whole lot of flexibility.
I want to go to Elena Treen. Elena.
Does give him it does give him a 90-day extension if he chooses to. However, ByteDance is saying they don't want to sell it without the algorithm, I guess. So it's like, even though Kevin O'Leary wants to buy it, some people say Mr. Beast tweeted, he said he wants to buy it. He's spoken to a lot of billionaires and they want to buy it. But, buying TikTok is not just the issue. It's buying the algorithm as well. So you could, the information part, you could keep it on United States soil because the information is what the United States is being skeptical about, saying, someone could decide to run for senator or governor or president in the next 20 years, and they are on TikTok right now. So all the information, like they say, TikTok may be getting your text messages, your emails, your whatever you're doing privately on your phone, and they have your secret. And then in the next 20 years, you want to run for the governor of your state, and then boom, some secret comes out that you don't want anybody to know. However, it's not just Americans knowing about the secret. It's about a foreign entity knowing about that they can use against you or your country. That happens to be the United States. So it's a national security concern as of this point. But I do think that this may be an opportunity for an American company to come up with something really nice. But we already have YouTube. We already have Meta. We already have X. We already have Instagram. So TikTok just has a different appeal to younger people.
This is what Trump ran on. He ran on scared politics. I think it's important to center this conversation to talk about immigration some, and that the last full month of the Biden administration here in December was the lowest crossing at the border since 2020 when Donald Trump was president. Do I agree that if there's bad people here that have committed major crimes, they should be kicked out of this country? Absolutely. But 68% of all the Latinos in America know somebody that's undocumented. And for all you folks at home, that's the folks who's picking your salad and milking your cows. On CNN tonight, in South Dakota, our farmer came on this show and talked about how he had voted for Donald Trump and didn't really think Donald Trump was going to deport the men and women who are milking his cows. Milk's finna go up. Buckle up.
Well, I want to,
My boy said, milk's finna go up, y'all. Milk finna go up, y'all. Look, this deportation situation is going to happen on day one because Tom Homan is not playing around, and Trump really campaigned on mass deportation. Okay, so if you are here illegally, then I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry, sister. You might be getting deported, and a lot of people are actually self-deporting as of today.
I mean, you made a point here about criminals because I think they've been pretty clear for logistical reasons that they are going to start with let's figuratively speaking, the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest thing for them to accomplish. Are you, Keith, concerned about a plan that involves rounding up people who are already adjudicated as criminals? Maybe they have deportation orders, maybe they have final orders of deportation, and saying, we're finally going to get you and deport you as a court has adjudicated?
Well, the devil's in the detail, and I don't really know where the details are. It seems like there's a lot of puff right now and a lot of scare tactics. They want people to be afraid about this. I just don't understand how they have the infrastructure to be able to pull this off on Tuesday. I mean, Tom Homan himself was saying we need 100,000 detention beds in order to be able to do this. We have like 20,000 or 40,000 or something like that. You're talking about doubling the number of detention beds in order to be able to keep these people in some sort of space before you can deport them. How are they going to possibly do this? So I think a lot of what is going on right now is they want people to be scared so that Trump can come in and pretend like he's doing something. We're going to have a lot of executive orders signed in the next few days, and we're going to think there's something happening, but I don't really think he's going to be able to do as much as he wants to do. But it will be dangerous, but not as quickly as he wants it to be.
I think, though, that what's important to remember is that a lot of the policies that were put in place by the Biden administration are going to be taken away, so that hopefully we go back to the Trump way it was, where the stay in Mexico policy. I mean, we had a week and a half ago in Boston, we had a situation where an illegal was in a housing unit with over $1 million worth of fentanyl, an AK-47 and weapons. And these are the type of people that they want to get rid of.
We have
These
American
are the people,
citizens in Las
there are going to be
Vegas
plenty of
and
people,
New Orleans who are killing
plenty of
people as well.
criminals.
I mean, we have American citizens in the United States who are committing acts of terrorism, who are committing murders and crimes. In fact, American citizens, natural-born American citizens, are more likely to commit those crimes than people who come here as immigrants.
Then they have to face a court as well.
It's easy to pick out a case and cherry pick this and say, this is the problem that we're all facing because this one person did this one horrible thing. And we can all agree that that's a horrible thing. But that's not how you make policy. You don't make policy because of anecdotal evidence. You make policy based on facts and statistics and data.
Yeah, and the fact remains that the overwhelming number of immigrants here are law-abiding people who are paying taxes, who are following the law. And this sort of notion of like...
The one thing these people are omitting in their conversation, the one thing they're not talking about is illegal, okay? Trump never said, I'm going to deport everybody that came from other countries. No, he said illegal immigration. How hard can that be? He said illegal. Why can't these people just say, oh, he's deporting illegal people, illegal immigration? That's what he's concerned about. How is this hard?
We must remove all of them as rapidly as possible, and that's the problem with America. That's a really dangerous way to look at it.
Well, they're not going to be able to remove all of them.
That's right.
Like, almost everybody acknowledges that. And so are we going to see a bunch of activity on Tuesday, and then it's going to taper off when people turn to other issues that come up? Because to get to even 1 million is going to take quite a long time. It could take the entire year, let alone 11 million. That's probably not going to happen.
You'll see activity. I don't know about a lot of activity, but for anyone who thinks that Donald Trump is bluster and bluff on this issue, he ran on it. He didn't run on scare tactics. He ran on what was either the top issue or the second top issue among the American people for the entirety of the campaign. And so you're going to see him deliver on his promise. It will be a promise made, promise kept to start moving forward on that. But I will say, I think it is a fair criticism that expectations have not been appropriately set. I think that Donald Trump, Tom Homan, the entire team needs to do a better job explaining precisely what we will see and when, because there are some folks on my side of the aisle, Republicans, who are going to expect everything to get fixed in 6 months, and there are others who will expect absolutely nothing will happen. Government is government. It's going to be messy. It's not going to be easy, and they need to be honest about that.
What are we in for in terms of the legal environment? I mean, I remember almost like it was yesterday, that first week of the first Trump administration, when people were at airports, there was mass confusion both inside and outside of the United States.
Of course, how hard can this be? You came into a country illegally, and then the commander-in-chief of that country says, you know what, you might have to go back to your country because you didn't even come in here in the first place through a legal way. So it's like, how is Trump the bad person? So Trump saying, if you came in here illegally, you should be deported. How bad can that sound? I get it. People travel, immigrate for different reasons. Okay. But I've heard people here in the United States been in here for 20, 25 years, for 30, 35 years, and they're saying, I don't have my papers yet. What were you doing for 30 years? And now that Trump is becoming the commander in chief, you're saying, well, I've been paying my taxes, but I've been here for 25 years. I don't have my paper. What do you mean for 25 years? You couldn't like reach out to USCIS. You couldn't reach out to who? Immigration lawyers? Like, what is wrong with people? You like blaming things and other people. You would never blame yourself. Point the fingers to yourself.
States, there were court cases being adjudicated in the middle of the night, all kinds of things like that. It was actual pure chaos.
I remember that. That was going back to the Muslim ban and a lot of the stuff that was putting in. Let me live this in real life. Both of my business partners are immigrants. They've both been in this country over 20 years. One of them under DACA, the temporary service for kids who have come, and the other under TPS from El Salvador. Both went to their entire school in America. Both graduated with honors. Both of them now are business partners with me and make more money than a U.S. congressman and don't know the certainty of what their lives will be. Have they broke the law? No. But if they stay past March when one of their TPS expires, then they have, quote unquote, broke the law, to your points about devils in the details. So real people are living this, and I have a very, very good life. And folks around me have a good life. Think about the people who are just trying to make it every day and the uncertainty in their life.
So
I'm sorry, if
you just heard this man right here. They've been here for 20 years, y'all. 20 years. And still don't have papers. Yeah, I see.
this had been an issue that both sides in Congress had been actually trying to fix for years. I could understand this, but this has been a problem that especially Republicans have lifted up and not wanted a solution so they could continue running on it. And this is like the ultimate I'm going to seem tough on crime moment. And it is going to be quite frightening for a lot of Americans to watch these sort of raids. This is not the sort of America that a lot of people...
Man, bro, chill. Man, bro, chill. When Obama was, well, you know, a lot of people say Obama is. Wait, let me pause this.
Just to clarify,
a lot of people say Obama was the deporter in chief. Nobody said anything about Obama was deporting people. When Obama built cages, according to the news, nobody said Obama built cages. And now Trump wants to deport people that are illegal. And now it's like, well, it's bad. Okay, open the border. This is what they want. They want an open border. They want cases like Lake and Riley. That's what they want. Isn't that just wild that you don't want to protect your own citizens from this wild people that are coming in? Not everybody coming in is just wild, obviously, but take a look at what happened in New York on the subway when an illegal immigrant set a woman ablaze on the subway, y'all. What about Lake and Riley? It's a lot of things going on in the United States that some illegal immigrants are doing. And it's like, do you want that to keep going on, or do you want to protect the homeland? It should be homeland protection first.
The Musk story.
Yes.
That's 40 hours old. Within 45 minutes after it broke, both the Chinese government and ByteDance, the Chinese company, called it fiction. And so let's just clear that up. And what we're waiting for on this deal, and Trump knows this and so does Biden, we're waiting for the rendering of the justices from the Friday hearing, which we were thinking would come today, might come tomorrow. The assumption is they will throw it back to the executive. That's Biden. Biden will then have to make a decision if there's a viable bid, and the only syndicate bid I know that's viable that's been given by bankers to ByteDance and the Chinese government and every American shareholder is Frank and mine. Nobody else has a syndicate bid, an actual offer, an actual written offer associated with the order from Congress. They have it. It's papered. So Biden will have to make a decision. You have a viable bidder, and this bidder has claimed already we do not want to buy the algorithm because we know with certainty we can't use it because it's the reason Congress threw this thing off anyways. So,
well, the ownership of the algorithm in
we
Chinese
don't want
hands,
to own it. We don't want to buy it. We've put a $20 billion bid on the table. Let's start negotiating. That can give them the 90 days. If Biden grants, he will be the executive right up till midnight on the 19th. This is a crazy situation.
It is
because
very.
Frank's worked very hard with the Democrats. I've worked very hard with Trump. to explain this is a bipartisan deal to keep 6 million American businesses lit up.
What did Trump say? I mean,
Trump,
and what role do you think he has?
He said to me, and I'm just being transparent, tell me why I care about this. And I said to him, because there's 6 million American businesses that are generating $10 billion in revenue and keeping their families alive with this. And you also used it, of 170 million young people, got you elected. And we should keep this thing lit up because I don't want to see it go away. All I'm trying to get for this company is a 90-day extension that Biden can grant it up to midnight on the 19th. And then the next morning at 12:05, I'm working for Trump on the deal. That's the story.
What do you think of this, Catherine?
I will say, if you want to destroy TikTok, selling it to Elon Musk might be the most efficient way to do it, given that he turned Twitter, which was a $44 billion company, into a $10 billion
I was going to say,
company.
there are probably some regulatory issues.
Yes, there are a number of regulatory issues. And look, I have lots of concerns about large swaths of our population getting their news from platforms like TikTok, not only TikTok, for lots of reasons, independent of ownership, right? I mean, these are the sort of the natural selection of information on these sites is toward more salacious and less informative, less tethered to reality, right? That's what's a lie travels halfway around the world before the truth laces up its boots, et cetera. Having this platform potentially owned by Chinese interests, obviously even more concerning, particularly since you don't know how they're going to put their thumbs on the scale. Having it owned by Elon Musk, also quite concerning because you do know how he's going to put his thumb on the scale, given what he's done with Twitter.
Is there anybody else?
So all of that is quite concerning to me. I haven't looked at your bid, so I'm not endorsing it. But I understand the concerns all around about
to
this
your
change of
lobbying of Trump, Kevin. But is anybody else just perplexed by where we are in the country? That business leaders have to go to Donald Trump to get his blessing to own something that was in the private domain. I mean, are we there as a country now where
this is the order of Congress?
Yeah, I know, but no. What I'm talking about is the idea that you want to Mar-a-Lago presumptively because you wanted to get
and
Donald
we went
Trump's
to Biden
blessing.
too. We went to Biden too.
I know.
And his DOJ.
This is not new, though. I mean, if you look at what happened during the first Trump administration, there was a reason why, like, Sprint executives stayed at the Trump Hotel in D.C. and other people who wanted his blessing on whether it was mergers or being nicer to Saudi Arabia. A lot of Saudi Arabian government officials stayed at Trump properties. We have a record of this, that people stayed at his properties to curry favor.
The real wild part here is you're going to have Musk, Zuckerberg, Bezos seated right there as if they are officials of the incoming Trump administration.
Yep.
And to my mind, a lot of this has to do with the fact that the internet is basically a trash dump. And it's grossly in need of government regulation. What it's done to our children, to our daughters, I think it's sinful.
I think that is the opposite of what they are going to be lobbying for.
This is a product that is as harmful as tobacco to our kids. And yet there is no regulation. And when we think about something like TikTok, obviously the focus on TikTok is the Chinese government being able to use information. But when you're looking at Facebook and when you're looking at these other platforms, you're looking at how these products are being used to absolutely corrupt, spin, disinformation, outright propaganda, if not, and of course, pornography and hate speech. And now Zuckerberg says, no more checking, no more limit. We'll have individuals check it. Talk about craziness. This is what apparently he's trying to get Trump to buy into because Trump is driving the gravy train.
I don't think, I don't really care so much, honestly, about whether they use, factcheck.com or a person for the fact checking. The issue for me with the Zuckerberg thing is that it's a complete distraction from the actual real problem, which is an algorithm that, to your point, Juan, is making kids suicidal. It's addicting them to being online. It's spreading misinformation. It's fueling genocides. Those are things that have actually happened, and nobody's talking about that because they're busy just.
So they're going to talk about how it is fueling, genocide and all these bad things. But what about kids that are becoming millionaires overnight? What about new streamers that are making a lot of money? What about people like Kai Cenat? What about these AMP guys? What about young people going into e-commerce, making a lot of money with the internet, with social media, to be precise? social media, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, they're not going to talk about the great things that, social media has done. They're only going to focus on the negativity, which is a typical, media rant. It is what it is. They only focus on the negativity. Nobody talks about the positive stuff. Okay. You're not going to talk about, oh, this lady started her e-commerce business 2 months ago, but due to Instagram and the reels and the algorithm, she's been able to raise $4 million. It is going on every day in the United States. A lot of young people are becoming millionaires because of social media, but they're not going to talk about that. And now that Trump is becoming the new commander in chief, they're going to talk about this and say, well, social media they're promoting hate speech, propaganda, no more fact checking. If there is fact checking, who is going to tell us the truth? CNN, Fox, MSNBC? I don't think so. I think the people should be able to say their own opinion without being censored, because fact checking, in my opinion, is censorship. Okay, there should be community notes. Yes, I get it. Like X now, Meta wants to implement the same strategy. But if you're saying that, there should be regulations and there should be that and there should be this, who will do the regulations, and how are we sure that the person regulating us, the people, are not actually corrupt? Okay, if there's a regulatory body, all right, if there's a body that's actually in charge of regulations, then of course they can be bought. So there should not be regulation. There should be community notes. Okay, if you don't want your child on social media, if they're below 14, 15, some states are now saying they're banning social media in high school. If you're 14 and below, you cannot get on social media. I think Florida did that. But it's like, there should not be any form of regulation or whatever. If you don't want your child on Instagram or social media, take their phones or put some kind of internet lock on your internet in your home. Be a responsible parent and stop trying to make sure the government parent your kids. It's just what it is. Be an adult. Take responsibilities.
Kind of sucking up to the
You're
person
talking
who's
Facebook
in charge.
and Meta here, or
I'm talking about Facebook in particular, but social media in general. And all of them are going to Mar-a-Lago for one reason, which is to say, we're on your side, leave us alone.
Yeah, look, I came up in the era of social media. It's not going anywhere. And so we have to do some really thoughtful interventions that don't harm free speech, but also don't do the negative things like increase suicide rate and drug use for young people. We know that is happening. The hate speech is challenging because the First Amendment is what we are here. The thing that I'm interested, I hope this TikTok thing works out because it is a revenue generator and in some ways, not perfectly, but has democratized how people have access to platforms. We do work at my company, Watering Hole Media, where we empower creators who would never have an opportunity to get briefed by members of Congress on different pieces of legislation. So if it's done right, it could really create the next level. I hear all the concerns, but in a moment like this, I actually think it could be an opportunity that the best of America comes out and we look to take it to the next stage where it makes us a stronger country. It makes journalism stronger. If that's where people are getting their news, do we tell them don't read the news or do we make it?
Good news. I'll make this commitment to you right now. Frank and I will make TikTok wonderful again.
So are they committed to saying yes to you? I mean, Congress passed a law. They have to sell it.
Trump did not say you're my pick to buy it.
Who? No, like the ownership of TikTok. Will they sell if they?
They have no incentive to do anything until the justices render their opinion.
So if the justices say we're going to enforce the law that Congress passed, I have read that they've said they'd rather shut down.
They might. That's a binary decision.
So here's my point.
And by the way, when that happens, they raise $42 billion worth of shareholder money.
And if the Chinese ownership, aka the Chinese government, really a cutout here, would say I'd rather shut down something this big with this much money flowing through it than let American ownership have it, what does that tell you about the algorithm and the purpose of the app? What does it tell you
absolutely.
about it?
But also not just from like a privacy or even an espionage perspective, but the potential. I mean, TikTok has gone from 0 to a gazillion.
Yes.
It's like 170
in
million users.
such a
It's
short
crazy.
period.
billion users.
But where are they going to go? This is my question.
Yeah.
Is that like it's not going to stop those users
Yeah.
from finding another platform? Folks are organizing on there.
It just won't
And
be owned by
so-
the
By the way, you
Chinese,
should
yes.
know this. There are 2 books right now that are available free on the App Store, Lemonade and Redbook, that are Chinese algorithms,
Yes.
one owned, and
These
they
are
are
2
trying
apps.
to use
Yes.
algorithms
Yes.
to push
To
their
push
users
people over to
But the
yes.
order is written very broadly that any executive, including any president, can use the same order to shut those down too.
Okay.
So we have the defense mechanism in place. A foreign government cannot steal a 13-year-old woman or girl's data anymore. It just can't happen.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the live show. It is what it is. I have to go be a father. I have to create time for my little daughter. She's 5 years old, so I'm about to go make dinner for. Is that? Okay, I'll charge it. I'm about to go make dinner for my daughter. I will be back here in about, say, 3-4 hours before midnight for sure. So if you want to stay up and wait for the show, great. If you want to go to bed, have a good night. But I will be back here. So thank you for tuning into the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. You guys are the best. Leo Hagen says, love you. I love you too, man. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you guys. You guys are the best. Instead of looking for perfection, seek for consistency. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on your duties, okay, and your dreams, and never give up on God. Believe in yourself, believe in your dreams, and believe in God, okay? Believe in God Almighty, okay? Stay strong, never quit, keep going, never give up. Life is hard, I know, but just keep on going, okay? All right. I will be back here for sure. So stay tuned and turn on your what do you call it? Notification, okay? Turn on your notification on YouTube so when I go live you can get the alert that I am live and we can have a good time. You see the way the chat is going. We are a free speech community. We do not censor you except you're just being, out of this world, okay? So turn on your notification on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the live show, turn on your notification one more time so you can know when we go live, okay? And thank you for tuning in. You guys are the best. God bless you. Thank you to the veterans. Thank you to the military active duty members. God bless you. Thank you for your service. And it is your boy Genesis, and I am signing out. I will be back here. God bless you.